So I'm here today with none other than Adrienne and Jack from Seven Spires. How you guys doing today?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I see that you're together. Are you guys quarantining together?
We're yes, and also we're working on some new music while the time allows.
Basically, we played our first show and the last show actually of the tour with Insomnium and Omnium Gatherum, and basically we're like, well, we're gonna go home anyway. Why don't you just come to my house and we'll work on new music instead? So yeah.
At least you have good company.
Indeed.
Let's start off our conversation with that tour, with that show. This was an odd one, right? Like a tour starts, you guys play one show, tour cancel.
Yeah.
Have you guys had a chance to even wrap your heads around that? Never mind everything else, just that everything started and there was one show.
Yeah, it was so crazy because we knew going into it, and we were talking about it all day, and everybody was getting phone calls that the whole thing might get canceled or some shows might get canceled. We had no idea. And then after the show, I believe it was Insomnium's merch guy that basically told us, yeah, we just found out that everything's done and the guys had to buy flights. So it was really insane. And we had spent the entire next day like taking the RV back and dropping everybody's gear off and us buying flights. So I think it didn't really hit me until like 2 or 3 days after what just happened. But
I was depressed for like a week.
Yeah. But it was set to be a really, really fantastic run. Yeah. I mean, like the crowd in Philly was amazing.
New York was sold out. Montreal was sold out too, I think. And like those are two really good markets for anyway.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was supposed to be awesome. And we were gonna come to Toronto, and tons more Canada dates that we haven't done yet. And
I know. You guys were scheduled on this tour to come to Toronto. I mean, you have another tour scheduled for later on in the summer, and at this point in time, you must be crossing your fingers that one doesn't get canceled.
Yeah.
Hoping, yeah.
It's tough. From your perspective, how does something like this, the situation that we currently live in, how much of this puts added unnecessary stress to you guys as musicians, as a band that just released a brand new album and it was hoping that they could go on the road and tour and support this record?
Well, pretty much all of the stress.
Yeah.
Because our entire income stream basically these days, aside from the like pennies, fractions of pennies that we get from streaming, everything is from touring and sales, basically from shows. So it's basically just put a stop on all of our income, both personally and as an entity. So it's pretty much the worst possible scenario, but everybody else is in the same boat too. It's not just us, it's the whole world, it seems. So I guess everybody can relate.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, it's also stressful, like not just in a professional sense, but I don't know how you've kind of felt about it, but I felt so fucking useless. Like I trained my whole life to be a touring singer, basically a performing musician, and to have every kind of opportunity to do that be canceled basically until further notice. It's like, why the fuck am I alive then? You know? So yeah, I mean, we've done some things to help like entertain people because that is our role now. So we've made a ton of like playthrough videos and done a live stream where we sing and play acoustic guitar, which is very not Seven Spires, but man, yeah, we're doing what we can, same as everybody else, I guess.
Yeah, and that takes me to my next point, which is you guys started a GoFundMe in order to raise some money to help you guys with the costs of the tour. And then I saw the post because I shared the post and I saw that Facebook had taken them down. What's the situation currently with that GoFundMe and with the whole being able to even post that information on Facebook so that people can find out about it and obviously help you guys out?
Yeah, so I think what happened with that is basically the day after we posted our GoFundMe, Facebook told all of their like their moderators or whatever to go home, and we're going to use AI to moderate the spam. So it was just an algorithm thing that caused anything mentioning the virus to get taken down for a bit. So thankfully everything's back up. We can still post about it, and you can still donate. And yeah, I think that was just a little mess up on Facebook's part.
It was just horrible timing, and I know I was pretty upset already, and then just to, even though it was a mistake, just to feel like we were like kicked while we were down felt really not great.
This was supposed to be the year of 7 Spires. Like, it reminds me of the year of George and Seinfeld, and then everything collapsed.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
No.
We'll just have to. It still can be. We'll just put it on a little delay.
Yeah.
Until everything gets back to normal.
Speaking of the year of 7 Spires, you guys released your second record, first record being released with Frontiers Music. How was the relationship with the label? Like, big label for you guys, the pressure was on. At least I feel that way for a band going in on a big label like that, releasing their second album. How's the relationship been, and how was the relationship leading up to the release?
So far, it's been really positive. They really respected our artistic vision, and didn't try to really do anything except for make sure that everything looked good, and looked on brand, basically. But they didn't ever really try to make us compromise ourselves, which is a beautiful and wonderful thing.
And their guy Nick here in the States, out of Nashville, is the social media expert, and he also runs the forum, the Frontiers forum on Facebook, and we've actually been working very closely with him, and he's just fantastic.
Yeah,
he knows
Nick.
all the algorithms and all the tricks to get YouTube to throw your videos at people, and
he knows more about social media than I do, and I
which
feel
is
like
amazing.
that's really, I mean, of course that's his job. So, but I was very impressed after I started working with him more closely. It's like, damn, he really knows his stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as label partners, I think we really lucked out with Frontiers.
Yep. Especially at this point in our kind of careers, I guess.
Yeah. Did you guys take a different approach to this record, musically and creatively, compared to the other record, considering the support that you had from this big label and everything around it? I felt that there was a lot of changes, not drastic changes, but there were some changes. So I'm wondering if the changes that I saw, that I heard on the record, are a reflection of perhaps the approach that you guys took going into the record.
Sort of yes and no. So the album was done well before we had even started talking to Frontiers. So any actual musical creative changes were us, and we kind of like this whole storytelling thing that we do, and the symphonic metal thing allows us to maybe branch out in different directions that we might not be able to in a traditional kind of metal album style. So I think the story dictated a little bit of a different sound on certain songs, a little bit of different directions. And I think that's something we'll probably stick to for the next album, the one after that.
The idea of branching out.
Yeah, the idea of branching out and not having to do the same album every time,
Mm-hmm.
I think they even signed us before they had heard any of the second album, too.
I think that's true as well.
So, yeah, it was all us, basically.
If you don't like it, bummer.
It was us. I'm sorry.
No, I honestly, I thought the album was great. I think you guys have such a great way of telling the story, incorporating both the vocals and the music in order to really get the full picture of what the story is about. So it allows the listener to really get engulfed into it and almost become a side character to the story. Is that something that you guys are really proud of? And that's something that I felt like that's always been like a trademark when you look at the two records in terms of how you guys create music. Is that something that, regardless of which directions or how much you bend the sound, that's always going to be something that's going to keep you guys focused as one of the main guidelines?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I don't know about you. I'm definitely an escapist. at heart, and I've always loved like fantasy video games and books and movies and basically all forms of storytelling, because I love exploring new worlds and like having these strange experiences that I personally wouldn't have had. I don't get to ride on the back of a dragon, but I could in a book. And so I think that is one of the things that we really love to do musically as well. Paint a new kind of universe for somebody to get lost in. Also, I saw your review of the album talking about that, and that was one of the things I loved actually about your review, is that you picked up on that. So thanks a lot.
Oh, my pleasure. I really enjoyed the album. I mean, I was really immersed into it. It almost felt like an audiobook more than it did anything else. Like you really feel the story coming to life in all sorts of ways, from your vocal approach, but also from the musical approach. And that, to me, it really enhanced the beauty of the album. You guys didn't really put boundaries on it in terms of saying, okay, this was our style, or this is who we are. So regardless of what we do, let's make sure we stay in our lane. You guys definitely did not stay in your lane.
We don't have a lane.
Yeah.
You guys don't have
the dirt road. Yeah.
Yeah. Our lane is the open ocean.
Exactly.
What was the thought process about going into a prequel to the story? I thought that was interesting. It's almost like Star Wars. I felt like you guys took like a step back to give us a little bit of the view of what happened before. How did that idea came about?
Well, the real story is that we had written another album in between the time that we had finished this one and or in between releasing, or I guess finishing Solveig and then finishing this one. So we had originally written the sequel, but some of the musical ideas from Emerald Seas had come up, and we realized that for people to understand the motifs musically,
and like to have the full emotional impact of them,
yeah, we would have to release Emerald Seas and finish that one before releasing a sequel. So it actually ended up being a musical decision that caused us to go the prequel route. But I think it worked out really well, and I think this was the correct decision, at least from the audience perspective, to give this kind of flavor before we go in a different direction on the next one.
Yes. And also, I think that if we had put out the story of Emerald Seas first and then Solveig, it wouldn't have the same. It would be like knowing that Darth Vader was adorable Anakin, and suddenly this villain doesn't seem so villainous. He's just a sad, broken man. So I think if we had known that Solveig had just been another human who got everything that they kind of worked for and then realized it wasn't what they wanted after all. Like, the character doesn't seem so, like...
dark?
Yeah. It just seems, like, pathetic.
I could see that, and to be honest with you, when I was listening to the album, I kind of had that thought going into Star Wars. It kind of had that same vibe of going back into the story so that you get a different idea of the character and you get a different idea of where you are, which then makes you understand the first record better, because now you have a different understanding that you didn't have before. So it actually works better for both records from that perspective.
Oh,
yeah, I think so too.
Okay, good.
Being compared to Star Wars is not a bad thing.
I agree.
I mean, there was no lasers, there was no force, but from a storytelling perspective, I felt that there was a lot of similar ideas in terms of how you guys presented the story.
Totally, yeah. Oh, that's cool. Thanks.
Now, Adrienne, I want to ask you about your vocals on this album, because to me, you really use them as another instrument. The same way Jack uses the guitar, you were really using your vocals to really tell the story in terms of your range and how you wanted to pass on the emotions of the characters on the story. Does that create difficulties for you when you're putting even the lyrics together for the track, knowing exactly which style to approach in each specific? Because to me, I'm going to be honest, not being a musician, I look at that whole thing and I'm saying, oh my God, there's so many moving pieces here. How the hell do you keep your head straight and knowing exactly what goes where?
Honestly, it's how can I say? I basically just go with my gut. I try to put myself in the character's shoes and think, how is this person feeling? And then I think about like the type of sounds that a person makes when they're feeling any given emotion. So if you're angry, you kind of have this like, so that means, oh, I'm probably going to scream these lines. Or if the character's really sad, there's going to be a little bit of a cry at the voice. So I'm probably going to sing like, the dream is dead, this kind of thing. So yeah, it's just about imitating human sounds and to help best convey raw emotion. And at that point, once I am, I don't know, I've been stuck in this approach for a long time, and so it just kind of became second nature by now. So yeah,
it's almost natural to you now.
Yeah.
And don't think that I didn't pay attention to the fact that you guys said you already had another record. So does that mean that you guys technically already have another record?
Yep.
Pretty much.
So what do you do with yourself at this point? If you already, like, you have the idea, or do you actually already have some like some stuff that you can wrap your hands around as far as the next record is concerned?
We have an hour and 13 minutes of completed demos.
Wow. you guys don't screw around, you know what I mean? Like,
no.
This is like, get some work done.
Yeah.
Part of it is that it always takes really long to release anything. Like, the recording process takes really long, the mixing process takes really long, and then once it's in the hands of whoever's releasing it, it's at least 6 months before you can even think about doing anything. So it's a lot of just like sitting on our hands waiting for stuff to get done. So we might as well work on the next one and not have to stress about deadlines, you know?
Yep. Actually, we already started working on the concept for album 4 since we came back here. So, because the other album's like done. So
I'm blown away. So it's like you guys already like in album 4. So I'm assuming the story will continue because there's still more to be said.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Don't want to spoil anything.
My least favorite thing in the world is finishing a season of a show like The Witcher, Castlevania, and then knowing that there's going to be another one and having to wait for it. Like, oh, coming 2021. No, I hate it. Just give me more now.
Give it all to me now.
I know. That's one of the reasons I binge watch shows, and sometimes I always wait until the season is over because I can't watch just one episode a week. I need to sit down and just like immerse myself in the whole season, and I'm with you on that. And speaking of shows like Castlevania and Witcher, if you guys were ever approached to do a soundtrack for a Netflix series, what Netflix series would be the one that you would love to do a soundtrack for?
I feel like we have differing opinions here, so you go first.
Me? Really?
Uh-huh.
That's tough. A soundtrack for like any Netflix series.
Yeah, I figure it would be something that falls within the sound that you guys play, but maybe not necessarily. I mean, maybe you want to do something completely different.
I think Adrienne could pretty much write the soundtrack for anything. So,
thank you.
But I think doing something for The Witcher would be really cool.
Oh, I was gonna say The Witcher or Altered Carbon or Castlevania.
Yeah. So, something like that.
Yeah, we would probably do The Witcher then, since that's like we agreed on. That would be fun.
Yeah, I think you guys would be perfect, to be honest with you. If they're like you guys are just in throwing your resume into the pile.
Yeah,
basically.
Maybe we should do that.
Okay. So, but in the meantime, you have an album out, and now you guys are stuck at home because of the virus. So, what are you guys planning? Because this is a hard thing for you guys now to promote an album without being able to go on the road and promoting it that way. Are you guys planning on anything special to keep you guys? I mean, I know you guys are busy working already on album 4, perhaps even 5, 6 if we can get creative here. But are you guys thinking of anything that would make sense for you guys and it would make sense for the band in order to do something so that people continue to listen to the band and you guys can continue to promote the new record until you're able to go back on the road?
Yeah, we're working on a lot of content. Like Chris just released a playthrough for the song "Fearless" yesterday, I think, and Pete's doing bass playthroughs, and I'm kind of helping with the audio side of those. And you were filming vocal lessons, and so we're basically throwing out a bunch of content and releasing it over the next however long we have to. We did a live stream of some acoustic stuff and answering Q&As, but. Aside from that kind of stuff.
Oh, and we're still doing interviews.
Yeah, of course.
That's why we're here.
Pete and Chris are up in New England, and we're here in Texas, so we can't do like a live stream concert or anything like that. And it's really hard because there's no substitute for a live in-person show. And like that's something that I think we all really miss and are just really looking forward to doing what we do best and getting back to it.
Absolutely. I think we're all just kind of, I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm also still active on my personal social media, mostly Instagram, as you know. And
yes,
it's like the platform I'm most comfortable on these days, I guess. And I try to post semi-regularly or mostly regularly if I can, just to help keep things going and to talk to people, because now we are officially stuck inside. So, yeah. I don't know where I was going with that. Sorry.
you went exactly where you needed to go.
Okay.
Whatever that is. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but whatever that is, that's where you went. I was going to say, I'm going to be posting a link on the description of the video for the GoFundMe page for you guys. So for the people that want to support the band, help you guys out, the link is going to be on the description of the video. And on that note, what's happening with the merch that you guys had put together for the tour? Are you guys selling that on your site? Like, because I'm sure you guys had merch for the tour. So how can people pick up some of that merch? It's kind of interesting because it's going to have, this is going to be a collector's item. It's going to have dates of shows that never happened.
I don't think we did any specific date merch for our for this particular run, just because
we're the support band.
Yeah, and also we haven't really done anything of this scale and didn't know how well things would sell, and if we printed something specific and then couldn't get rid of it. But now we kind of know. But any merch for this album cycle or previous album cycles, you can go to sevenspiresband.com/store and find what you're looking for. And we have also some upcoming stuff that we'll probably announce relatively soonish, merch-wise. So just be on the lookout on our various pages and things.
Hey, yeah. I'm a proud owner of a T-shirt, a hoodie, and a beanie. So I'm covered. I mean, you guys don't sell pens, so technically I'm not fully covered. But you know, maybe that's an idea for the future. Maybe that's an idea. You need some pajama pants, especially now when people are quarantining. Pajama pants would be nice.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah, that's very true.
Pants or some kind of jog. I love joggers. I don't like leggings as much, but I like men's joggers for my day.
Even the shorts, those kind of like basketball mesh shorts.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I didn't think about it. Pete would like those.
And Chris would like those too.
That's true. Yeah. We're not very Jack and I aren't sporty, so.
Yeah, with the Seven Spires logo on it, the same logo that you have on the hoodie, and on the beanie as well.
That could be cool.
I'm giving you guys some ideas. You never know.
Yeah,
we'll
thanks.
send you a commission check by mail.
It's all free. It's all free of charge. I just want to thank you guys for taking the time today to chat about the album, the tour, the band. Once again, I'm going to be putting those links. I'm going to put a link to the site so people can buy some merch. I'll put a link to the GoFundMe page so people can help you guys out. I think it's really important for those that can to support artists during this time, because it's really rough times for everybody, but for you guys, perhaps more than many. And more so because you had a tour that got canceled after the first show. It's not an easy thing for anybody to deal with, and it's not easy for you guys. And you know how much I love you guys. Every time you guys play in Toronto, I'm always there. So I hope people support you in any way they can. Like I said, I got the beanie, the shirt, and a hoodie. So I was actually thinking of wearing it today, but then I thought that would be too much.
We would have liked it.
Yeah,
we are the band of too much.
Yeah. I wear all of our merch all the time. Like I have no shame.
I have a Seven Spires flag, like right above the screen here. So
yeah, the hoodie is one of my favorites. I wear it all the time, and it's one of the few that I can actually wear to work and not look like a criminal or like I don't belong there. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't have any profanity, it doesn't have any bad stuff, so I can get away with it. So it's one of the reasons I really love that hoodie, and it's really comfortable.
Oh, awesome. Good, excellent. Very glad to hear it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you very much for your time today. I really hope all the best, and I really hope I see you guys here. I think it would be in August. That's when the next tour that it's still on schedule would be happening, and that would be even a bigger tour than the one that you guys were technically on. So I hope, I'm keeping my fingers crossed, I hope that it happens, because I would love to see you guys play some songs from the new. Oh, before we go, one thing, how much of the new album would you guys be including on the set list?
Well, for the one show of the run with Insomnium, they gave us 30 minutes. So basically we played entirely new material.
Except for the Paradox.
Except for the Paradox, yeah. So I think 5 or 6 songs of Emerald Seas.
Yes. I'm down with that. I'm down with that. All right. So once again, thank you very much. Keeping my fingers crossed that I see you guys in Toronto in August. Stay healthy. Stay safe. And keep working on that new record.
We will.
Take care, guys.
You too.